Hear this, people pleasers. You are doing the other person a disservice when you say yes, but you really mean no. When you're a yes person who says yes to anything and everything people ask of you, you've completely lost your sense of self. And in saying yes, you're actually not helping that person, because what you really want to say is no. And if you're denying what your true self wants, then you're also denying who you are. And every time you deny who you are fighting with your higher self. And when there is resistance and when there is fighting with yourself, amongst yourself, then comes resentment. And this resentment, though you might not feel it outwardly towards the person that you keep saying yes to, it starts to get bottled up inside of you and creates more and more dis-ease, more and more disharmony, because the truth of who you are is light, is pure consciousness, is pure awareness. And if you over and over again deny that truth of who you are, then you start to lose yourself more and more. And so every time you are people pleasing by saying yes because you think that's what the other person wants to hear, you are emptying yourself. You are abandoning yourself until at some point you feel a bit like a shell of your true self, a bit like a shell of who you once were. And so the way to get around the people pleasing is, first of all, to do a deep self-inquiry into who you really are. So ask yourself, what are my values? What matters most to me? What do I believe about spirituality? What do I believe about myself? Get really into those questions and get really open and honest with yourself about what you truly believe. Because if you truly believe that everything is connected, like is what's taught in yogic philosophy, then you are part of that all that is, right? And so you are the pure awareness, you are the light, you are the oneness. And so by denying yourself, by abandoning yourself and becoming a shell, by pleasing others and doing what everyone else thinks, what you think everyone else wants, then you are also at odds with that source consciousness that you truly are. And so once you take some time to really ask yourself who you are and what your values are, then you can start living a life based on those values. So if you are source consciousness in human form, if your source consciousness pushed out into human form, then what is it that source consciousness wants? Why would source push out into this physical form if not to experience life, if not to experience pleasure and joy and desire, right? Where we get hung up is getting attached to those desires. So we can have desire, we can have pleasure, we can experience, pleasure and joy, but just recognize our level of attachment to it, knowing that it is changing. And so when we start to understand what our values are and what we believe, and we start seeking the joy and seeking the pleasure, this is how we get out of the people pleaser mentality. Because here's the thing. When you are saying yes just because you think that that's what the person wants to hear, but you don't actually have the capacity to fulfill that yes, then you are not giving them your whole self. You are not giving them your fullest energy. And so you're actually doing them a disservice. Hear this, people pleasers. You are doing the other person a disservice when you say yes, but you really mean no, because you are not showing up as your whole full self. You're showing up as a shell of yourself, as a person who has inner conflict about who they are and what they want and what they believe and that what they want to say yes and what they want to say no to. And so if I'm asking for your help and you're showing up from this place that is not embodied, that is not authentic, then what good is that help to me? It's no good at all. So please understand that when you are people pleasing, you are doing not only yourself a disservice because you're abandoning yourself when you say yes, but you really mean no, but you're also doing the other person a disservice because you're showing up as not your full self, as not your embodied self, which can actually do a much better job at helping whatever the yes was. And thirdly, you're doing the evolution of consciousness a disservice by moving away from source, from consciousness, from pure awareness, from the truth of who you are. And so every time you choose yourself, every time you choose to align with your higher self, every time you choose to align with the source consciousness that you are assisting in evolving the collective consciousness. So I hope this helps. And if you have any questions or if you want to go deeper into this, you can check out the course, Awaken Your Truth. I'll put the link in the comments here. Any questions, any points you'd like me to elaborate on, please leave in the comments and be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much, as always, for joining this video. I love you.